What's up guys, Nolan here, and today we're going to adjust some expectations and clarify some information around the coming patch as well as the future of Escape from Tarkov. First things first here would be the timing of this next patch. We are currently in patch 12.10 and waiting on patch 12.11. I originally believed that we would get something from BSG after the NA Twitch Rivals tournament because I thought it wouldn't make sense for them to wipe during that tournament, of course. Then I was confused when we didn't hear anything official last week after that NA Rivals tournament. But then I learned why this week. It's because Rivals was not over yet. I thought there was only going to be an EU and an NA Twitch Rivals, but I missed that there was also going to be a Japanese Rivals as well. Every time they mentioned it, it was all in Japanese, so I had no idea what that was for. Now I know to translate that stuff in the future, so that won't happen again. The Japanese Rivals tournament ended today, and I haven't heard anything yet about any more tournaments, so I think that's the last one. If that is the last one, then my theory stays the same from the NA Rivals. It just moves back another week since there was that extra Rivals tournament that extra week. And to reiterate what that is, it would be that Thursday of next week, which is going to be June 3rd. I would be on the lookout for any big news from BSG, if not earlier in the week. Now that puts us at a Tarkov TV cast next week, possibly, depending on some things that we'll talk about in a second. One thing that needs to be clear is that we will not see a new patch without a Tarkov TV cast from BSG to tell us what's even in it. For anyone thinking that the cast Nikita did with Klean counts as that dev cast, it actually doesn't. The reason it doesn't is because it simply isn't an official dev cast. It was just Nikita talking to Klean and the boys about guns. Then he just happened to say some stuff about the coming patch and the future of the game because he's cool like that. Escape from Tarkov is Nikita's child. He just loves to talk about the game. Now, he was also talking off the top of his head with nothing to officially go off of other than his memory, making it very easy to forget things or mistranslate it because for those who don't know, English is not Nikita's first language. On top of that, he could have just been incorrect in some other way. There's a dozen different reasons to be careful about most of the things that Nikita says during casts like these. That's why we need to be very careful about what we take away from them, and it's also why they don't count as an official devcast. During the Tarkov TV official devcast from the BSG offices, they will be prepared with notes, screenshots, and possibly even some patch notes for the new patch. This all on top of Nikita being in the office with other leads that can correct him if he gets something wrong by accident in real time. So no, the patch will not spring up out of nowhere. That was not the devcast. There will be an official Tarkov TV cast first, then we'll go from there. If you're asking me, I would still say that 12.11 is still just a couple weeks away, depending on some clarification from what Nikita said yesterday with Klean. There was a lot of debate about what Nikita meant when he said they are already delaying the patch. My interpretation of this is that we should see 12.11 early June still, but not with all of the content that BSG had planned for it. This is not just me saying this either. Lots of people think he's talking specifically about some features being delayed and not the patch itself. Yes, I know it seems very obvious with what he's saying, and it is very confusing, so welcome to the world of deciphering Nikita-isms. This again is why we need to treat these differently than official streams, because Nikita would have an official script or guidelines on how to properly explain his thoughts on this subject, but since he's speaking off the top of his head in a language that he doesn't primarily speak, we get problems like this that pop up. So for those that want to hear it, here is the full clip uninterrupted from the stream.
Pretty big changes are coming in the next patch. Unfortunately, not everything that we wanted, because again, we're already delaying the patch because we wanted to make it like early June, but it's not possible, unfortunately.
Now, of course, if you want to rewatch that, you can, but the exact quote is, pretty big changes are coming next patch. Unfortunately, not everything that we wanted, because again, we already delaying the patch because we wanted to make it like early June, but it's not possible, unfortunately. Now, if you took that brass tacks, that would sound like he's delaying the patch. So after hearing and reading that, I'm sure I'm not the only one that immediately took that as the patch is delayed. Well, guess what? It's not. According to an emissary for Escape from Tarkov, Nikita wasn't referring to the patch itself being delayed any further. He was talking about certain features not making it into the patch. They are going to not add certain features because they aren't ready yet, and they don't want to delay the patch any any further to wait for those features to be finished. So, if this emissary is correct, then the full Nikitaism translation would be something like this. Some features are taking longer than anticipated to finish, so instead of waiting on those features, we're just going to push them to the next patch and continue with the release of 12.11 because it is already behind schedule. If what that emissary is saying is correct, and if Nikita had his information correct, then that's basically what that would sound like when actually properly put together. 12.11 was supposed to be late May already, but something caused them to push it back to early June. Instead of pushing that back again, they're deciding to cut the features that were having problems. What those features are, we don't have specifics of entirely, although Nikita named the factory expansion along with everything in it, the Mark 47 mutant, the site rework, and weapon malfunctions as being in 12.11. Specifically, weapon malfunctions coming by way of misfires, at least when we're talking about that. These misfires would be the most common and easiest of weapon malfunctions to handle, since you would essentially just need to chamber a new round to solve the problem. So again, unless Nikita just forgot to mention it because he didn't have official notes in front of him, that puts Scav Karma into question whether or not it will make it into 12.11. We'll have to wait to hear more. A week or two ago, they actually confirmed that Unity 19 was also going to be pushed back. So that's why he didn't mention Unity 19 here either. Now, with less content coming with patch 12.11, does that mean it no longer makes sense to be a wipe? Well, yes, actually, but it isn't just about the content. It's the specific content and the timing of it. If BSG still wants to wipe with Streets at the end of the year, then that puts a wipe in December at the absolute latest, of course. Unless they're okay with having a full year of a single wipe, or having a wipe that lasts 3 or 4 months when it starts on a patch around August, then that leaves 12.11 as still the best candidate, proper content or not. I still believe 12.11 will be a wipe, since I don't see them getting 12.12 out by July at this rate, but that's just me. If you guys have any other theories or want me to explain that better for you, ask me in the comments or come by my morning streams. Moving on from that, we have Nikita's explanation of the future persistent and non-persistent servers. Unfortunately, not all of the content creators out there knew about this and also didn't get the full story correct, so we have a bit of a shitstorm on our hands from it. This system that Nikita was talking about isn't new. They've confirmed this as planned for several months now and have even been discussing it for longer. It's also always been the same every single time that they've discussed it, so I'm not sure where people got something different. As of right now, according to all of the public information on the subject, this is how this feature is planned to work in the future. There will be 4 accounts allowed per player, 2 Bear and 2 USEC. These will split evenly between 2 servers, one that wipes and one that doesn't. Now, we might not see these necessarily as servers, but for ease of use, let's just call them servers to make it obvious that they will be separate. You will have a Bear and a USEC on each of these separate servers. The server that does not wipe will be much slower progression and was referred to as a main account by Nikita. Given the way Nikita talked about these accounts that wouldn't wipe, there's reason to believe it will have some unique features that will feed into the arena and even the periodical wipe server accounts. The specifics of that is not known right now, however. We also don't know when the wipes for the wipe servers will happen, but it's safe to say 3 to 4 months at this point because he did call them seasonal. Nikita made it very clear that these accounts on these separate servers will not be found in the same raids, and some people definitely didn't get that memo. If you play on a wipe character the day of a new wipe, you will not be matching with persistent players that did not wipe. These servers are separate for a reason, and they will always stay separate. The biggest problem from all of this is that, of course, it will split the community, but it seems that Nikita has a plan to keep that effect minimal by way of some features crossing over from accounts, which was what got people confused and thinking wiped accounts will match with unwiped. What those crossover features are specifically, we don't know yet, but I assume it will be some kind of unique currency for ease. We have heard some things in the past about Nikita talking about currency for arena and how the arena will affect other accounts, so I think it might tie into this somehow, but again, that's not very solid information. That's just basically what I've heard in the past. I also very much doubt it will be things like rubles, USD, euros, skills, or full characters for obvious reasons, because what's the point of wiping them if you can still use them? Nikita spoke about weapon malfunctions, and as of right now, ammo will seemingly be the biggest contributor to weapon malfunctions, although it wouldn't necessarily be a weapon malfunction, it would just be bad ammo, because with the use of bad ammo, increasing the degradation of the durability of the weapon, and also determining the amount of misfires. repairs. Lower durability weapons will be repaired the same way as armor, sort of, with diminishing returns for each repair and the amount of damage repaired. NPCs will have different durabilities of weapons now. Common scavs will have lower durability, while raiders will have close to pristine durability. There's a big range there depending on the type of scav or raider though, so just give the weapon a good look before you actually start using it and you should be fine. Along with NPCs, traders will also have different durabilities of weapons, so be sure to check out those before you purchase them for sure. Nikita then went on to say that they have a ton more weapon parts and attachments that are waiting to be added to the game, and they decided to put them into packs such as dirt cheap AR and AK, meaning of course a batch of very cheap parts where Nikita said that they would even be wooden and poorly made, but again, very cheap. The AR platform and AK platform packs respectively. Of course, I'll leave those up to you guys to understand what those are going to do. Nikita said that significantly more work is coming by way of improving optics in the game as well. We will be able to mess with the brightness of red dots that should allow it in real life. He also added 3 more new AKOG sights that will, quote, make AKOGs great again. Eventually, some helmets and visors will not allow you to aim down sights like in real life, since you just can't physically get your eye where it needs to be. And there are some production stocks for certain weapons that allow this. When it was mentioned, Nikita said that they actually already have some of those stocks finished, including one for the MCX. So it seems like unless you have one of these very specific stocks, you're not going to be able to use a visor with a red dot or with a weapon in general, unless you use a laser or unless you point shoot or something. To cheaply negate that, obviously just don't wear a visor or don't wear a helmet that wouldn't allow you to aim down the sight. And I'm sure it'll be pretty obvious what you can and what you can't do that with. The entire cast was just a good watch and listen all around. Klean even gave me a really cool shout out, which I appreciate. So if you want to check it out, you can find that full stream on Klean's YouTube in the link below. And of course, you can follow him on Twitch for any future talks with Nikita. But that is all for Tarkov news today. Again, if you have anything that you want to discuss, that is what the comment section is for, or you can come by my morning streams here on YouTube. Tomorrow, I will be launching my personal Sherpa program. I will be recruiting 10 people that are up to teaching others the way of Tarkov, but that are willing to learn the way I teach it, as I have some very big plans to getting 5-mans working very well in Escape from Tarkov, which is going to take a very specific learning and teaching process, because I also have plans to figure out a way to teach it to the masses. So I am looking for others who are willing to work with me on developing the process and then teaching it to others on top of the normal Tarkov 101 stuff. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, for sure, be sure to check back tomorrow or just join our Discord for more. However, that is going to do it for today, guys. For the latest Escape from Tarkov news, check out these playlists here. If you like more games than just Tarkov, check out my second channel. If you're looking for new friends, join our Discord. If you like this video, then you know the drill. Please subscribe. I really appreciate the people who do. Otherwise, I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.